So what if I told you there's a single, hidden pattern that can explain pretty much everything? I mean, from arguments you have with your family, all the way up to global wars. Today we're going to dive into this really fascinating spiritual framework that claims to be, essentially, the source code for all human conflict.
Now, this powerful idea comes from our source material, which is an imagined dialogue between the late Reverend Myung Moon and the commentator Charlie Kirk. And their whole proposal is that this ancient story, it isn't just a piece of history. It's a repeating pattern, a dynamic that's still shaping our world right now.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. We'll start with the original story of the two brothers, then see how that pattern echoes through history. From there, we'll apply it to modern politics and even conflicts between nations. And finally, we'll look at the vision for what it would take to restore the global family.
Okay, let's jump right in with the foundational principle. The core claim here is that this one single family dynamic is the source code for just about every major conflict we've ever seen, past and present.
The central metaphor they use is really powerful. The idea is that the conflict between the first two brothers, well, it wasn't just a one-off tragedy. It was the seed. A seed that planted a pattern of resentment, misunderstanding, and division that has just kept growing and repeating all throughout human history. But here's where it gets really interesting, because the roles are redefined. According to the source, Cain isn't just the bad guy, he's the wounded one. He feels hurt, resentful. And Abel isn't chosen because he's better. He's chosen for a mission, to heal his brother's heart, not to dominate or defeat him. It completely flips the script.
So next up, we see how this isn't just about that one family. The source argues that this is a recurring theme that just plays out over and over and over again in other key biblical moments.
You can see the progression right here. It starts with that first wound in Adam's family, then the shame and resentment in Noah's. The pattern repeats. But, and this is key, it also shows a path to victory. Look at Jacob and Esau. That's presented as a major turning point in this whole historical pattern.
And this is the crucial point. The story of Jacob and Esau is held up as the model for how to succeed. The goal wasn't to win an argument or prove who was right. No, the victory came when Jacob managed to win Esau's heart and literally melt away the resentment that was between them.
So how'd he do it? Well, the source breaks it down into these 4 very specific actions. Jacob didn't just show up and hope for the best. He acted. He approached with this profound humility, bowing, sending gifts. It shows that it's humility, not strength or being right. That's the real key to healing the division.
Okay, so now let's take this ancient principle and apply it to something we all know very well, the political landscape in America and the deep, deep divisions we see every single day.
According to the source, here is the fundamental problem. Both political sides feel like they are Cain. They both feel misunderstood, treated unfairly, and not loved. And when you have that, you get this endless cycle of mutual resentment where everybody feels wounded and nobody is in a position to be the healer.
This is such a critical distinction that's made in the dialogue. Just being right about the issues doesn't give you the moral high ground. It doesn't make you able. True authority, the kind that can actually heal division, comes from a place of self-sacrificial love and a real desire to serve the other side.
So what does that actually look like? The source lays out these 4 actions for whichever side is willing to take on that Abel role and break the cycle. You have to listen, love, and serve. And when you do speak the truth, you do it from the heart, with tears, not as a weapon.
So let's expand this concept out even further. We've gone from family to politics, now let's go to the global stage. Because the source claims this very same family dynamic is playing out in the conflicts between entire nations. You can see here how the principle is applied to major conflicts in the 20th century. In World War II, the Allies are framed as being in the Abel position. But here's the twist. While they won militarily, the source claims they failed to fully restore the Cain side. And that unresolved dynamic then set the stage for the Cold War, where the deeper goal, again, was to heal the resentment that was fueling the whole conflict.
Now, the source posits that America's role after the war was providential. It was meant to be the world's elder brother, using its power to heal and unite. But, it argues, America became more focused on the blessings of its new position and didn't fully embrace the massive responsibility to restore its former enemies.
All right, for our final section, we're exploring how this principle applies to what the source considers the deepest divisions of all, and that is the conflict between the world's great religions.
So the framework applies this same idea to the Abrahamic faiths. They're not presented as rivals, but as 3 brothers, all from the same family.
and their centuries of conflict are seen as a continuation of that original Cain-Abel struggle. It's a family that's still trying to overcome these ancient wounds and resentments.
And the source is crystal clear on this point. The purpose of religion isn't for one to prove it's superior and then dominate the others. Nope. Instead, religion is seen as a tool for restoration, and the ultimate goal is this kind of harmonious unity where everyone is finally recognized as one family.
And this really brings us to the core takeaway of this entire framework. It's a radical reframing of conflict. Your adversary, whether they're in your family, in politics, or on the world stage, is not an enemy to be defeated. They are the Cain, whose resentment you're actually called to heal. So, we'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. In a world that is so full of division, this principle challenges us to completely rethink how we approach conflict. What if winning isn't about being right? What if true victory is about being the one who's willing to love first, serve first, and heal the heart of the other side?